Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Mysca.
And welcome to Overwatch Central, and welcome to today's Brawl. This time, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is McCree, Reaper, and Roadhog on all sorts of maps. First thing that I'd say is it was a lot funner than I expected it to be.
Yeah, definitely. I actually, mostly at least, played McCree, and I gotta say that even though it feels kind of difficult to play McCree because of all the Roadhog hooks that are just constantly thrown out, it's still a lot of fun because, you know, Roadhog is such a kind of big target, so it's kind of easy to get all the fan the hammer shots in on him. And even though that doesn't actually kill him if you don't get at least a couple of headshots, you know, well, I don't think it does. 7x6. No, it shouldn't. But it's a lot of fun, and Roadhog seems like a hero that I should maybe try out. But I haven't just yet, but he's kind of dominating, I would say at least. He seems like the kind of easiest hero to pick up and play here at least. And Reaper seems very strong as well.
I guess the good thing is that none of these heroes necessarily feel underpowered. There's no real hard counters in it. It's not as if Reaper hard counters Roadhog and vice versa. Like, all of the heroes seem to be well matched against each other, which I just wasn't expecting. When we first got into this, I thought, well, Roadhog is probably going to be really bad in this situation.
Oh.
But he turned out to be quite strong, especially when you stack a couple of them.
Yeah, for sure. When you're like 3 Roadhogs just sort of walking around the maps like hooking anyone you see, there's not much the enemy can do if they don't just like rush at you. And I feel like it was we had a really funny moment on King's Row where there were like 4 McCree ults right after each other, like on the enemy team. So we just had to like hide around the corner, like as a McCree ult came out, and then we came out again onto the payload and another McCree ult, and that just like happened like 4 times in a row. It was really funny.
Yeah.
I think that King's Row game really kind of defined the Brawl well for me, because I could see how the Roadhogs on the enemy team were doing well, how the Reapers were kind of annoying to me, even though I could just flashbang them like pretty much every time. And I still had loads of fun at McCree, so that really was a good map for me.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to practice those 3 heroes in particular. I know we say this a lot, but just seeing how it should be played, and more often than not, it was more about shutting down people's ults than actually using yours effectively.
Yeah,
because you've got 2 heroes in there. You've got the hook and you've got the stun from McCree that can shut down a Deadeye, that could shut down a Death Blossom, that can shut down a whole hog. So it's all about practicing using your ults and making sure that you don't get taken out that easily. You know, you got to use your ult in a situation where you can't be stunned or hooked.
Yeah, but there are also these kind of I was almost about to say real life situations, but more actual Overwatch game like situations where, you know,
like typical scenarios.
Yeah, like a Reaper ult, like a Reaper gets hooked during his ult, or McCree gets hooked during his ult, because, you know, they both have to kind of be in the open when they like use their ultimates.
Yeah.
So that actually happens a lot in public matches and like in normal Overwatch games. So that's kind of good to try, and, you know, it's not a hard counter necessarily at all, but you kind of learn how to play around it after a while. And if you don't understand like those type of game mechanics, which maybe some people in our game actually didn't do because, you know, they were pretty low level and maybe they hadn't played Phase 2 beta a lot or Overwatch in a while. So maybe that was actually good practice for those people. But I definitely felt that at least this type of like situation that I'm in now, this actually happens. And yeah, it was, in that sense, it was actually good practice against those heroes. So it wasn't so much playing, like learning to play a hero in particular here, but more playing against these 2 other heroes that you weren't playing. And
getting to learn when these heroes have their abilities off cooldown. For example, you'd go after a Reaper once he's just used his Wraith form. That's a good time to flashbang him and attack him and hook him or whatever. So it's being aware of what the enemy team is doing more so than your own, and working out like, has the McCree that I'm about to kill got his flashbang, has the Reaper got Wraith form, has the Roadhog got his heal. It's all about being able to sort of preemptively do stuff before you actually do it, and I think that's a really good way to practice it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. Something that I would actually kind of, I guess, criticize the Brawl for, though, it doesn't really feel like Overwatch in many ways, because there aren't really any actual healers and so on. Like, I really feel like it loses a lot of that dynamic of it. And sure, the Brawls aren't there to be normal Overwatch at all, but that's why I think I enjoyed modes like arcade a bit more, because it was still the kind of craziness of Overwatch, but here was kind of more like who could dish out the most damage and not be headshotted like in this close combat encounter. That was what it felt like to me, at least. I got a couple kills as McCree where I just found the hammer and just picked up like 2 or 3 kills in one found the hammer, and yeah, it was kind of, it felt a bit stupid because it wasn't a much skill. It was more the fact that I was there and I headshotted them and they didn't headshot me. So yeah, it's
overall pretty good. I'd keep it in.
Oh yeah, exactly. Overall, good.
That's all we really got to say about this Brawl in particular. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. We should have the next couple of Brawls going out. We may miss one. We will let you know. And until next time, take care, and we will see you then.